Hello everyone. Today we're going to learn how to make this flower lacy granny square. This granny square has a flower in between and is worked with rows of single crochet. For this we are going to use crochet yarn and crochet hook 2.5 millimeters and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. We begin with a slip knot and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we need to make a slip stitch in the first chain that we started with. So slip stitch. And now into the ring we need to work 8 single crochets. So we first chain 1. And then we work 8 single crochets into the ring. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now once we have our 8 single crochets, we need to make a slip stitch into the first one that we started the row with. And now you chain 2. And now in the same stitch, we need to work 2 double crochets together. So for that, you need to yarn over, insert your needle into the same stitch that we started with. That's this one. You pull up your yarn. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. You yarn over and pull through just the 2 of them. Now you're left with 2 loops. Again, yarn over, insert your hook, pull out your yarn. Now you have 4 loops. You yarn over and pull through only 2 loops. Now you have 3 loops. You yarn over and pull through all 3. So that's your first cluster of double crochets together. After this you chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now in the next single crochet we need to work 3 half double crochets together. So for that you yarn over once, insert your hook, pull up a yarn, yarn over, pull through 2, you're left with 2 loops, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a yarn. Now you have 4 loops, yarn over, pull through just 2. Again, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up your yarn, yarn over, just pull through the first 2. Now you have 4 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4. You yarn over and finish the stitch by pulling through all of them. So now you have 2 petals here. Again, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. You need to repeat the same in the next one. So that's 3 double crochets together. That's 1, 2 and 3. Chain 3 and then you work in the next single crochet. So in this row, in each single crochet we need to work 3 double crochets together, and in between we need to work our chain 3s. I've completed my row and we have 8 petals here, and now I'm working my last chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now we need to go ahead and slip stitch into the chain 2, the first chain 2 that we had made. Okay, and now you slip stitch into the first chain space. Now we chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we need to work 3 double crochets into the chain space. So we start with our first one, 1, 2 and 3, and now we need to make chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3. After this we need to work a slip stitch into the chain space. So you go right into that and work your slip stitch here. We have our first petal. Now we need to go to the next chain space. We are working in the next chain space. So for that we need to slip stitch into that first. And again chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we work 3 double crochets. The first one, 1, 2 and 3. Now you work chain 3 again, 1, 2 and 3. And again we need to work a slip stitch into the chain space, the same chain space that we are working. A slip stitch in the chain space. Now we need to go to the next one, so a slip stitch into the next chain space, and then you continue working the same pattern throughout your row. I have completed my row and I have worked my last chain 3. Now we need to go ahead and work our last slip stitch here in the chain space, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you need to turn your work and you need to make a slip stitch on top of this petal. So what you do is you go under the petal like this. It's pretty simple. You need to just work under it and you need to work a slip stitch right there. Okay, again chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the next petal you just need to go under it and work your slip stitch. Again chain 4, 2, 3, 4. You go to the next petal, you work under it and you work your slip stitch. So you need to follow this pattern throughout the row. You need to work these loops that we are making above all the petals. I have finished my row and this is the last chain 4 and this is the last petal that I am working on. So slip stitch here and you chain 1 and then you make a slip stitch in the first loop that we made, the very first loop. You work your slip stitch there because we're going to work our petals in these loops now. So you chain 3, 1, 2, 3 and you need to work 4 triple crochets in this loop. So we start with the first one. That's 1. That's 2, 3, 4, and then you chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and work a slip stitch into the same loop. That's the first petal. Now you go to the next loop directly by working a slip stitch. Again, chain 3. You work 4 triple crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and chain 3, and a slip stitch into the same loop, slip stitch into the next loop, and you continue making the petals in all your loops. I have completed my last petal and I worked my slip stitch on the loop. Now if you can see, right next to it we have our petal here, this one on which we had made our loops earlier. So again, directly after you work your slip stitch here, we need to go under that petal and work another slip stitch, and chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so directly from this slip stitch, the last slip stitch of this petal, we went under the first row petal and worked our slip stitch because we are making loops again in this row. So we worked our first loop, that is chain 4. We go under the petal again, this one, and you work your slip stitch. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, the next petal, directly under it, you slip stitch and chain 4, and you make your loops on the entire row. I have completed the last chain 4 of the last loop, and we need to go ahead and make a slip stitch in the first loop that we made. You work your slip stitch there, and now you chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for the petals of this row we will yarn over 3 times, so that's 1, 2, and 3. You insert your hook, pull out a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through last 2. We're doing this because we need to make this petal a little bigger than our previous one. So in the previous one we yarned over twice to make a triple crochet. So in this row we are yarning over 3 times. So again we need to make 4 of these. We have our first chain here and we need to add 4, so we made the first one, the next one here, it's the third one, it's the fourth one, okay, and now we chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we complete the petal by working a slip stitch into the same loop. Now we work our slip stitch into the next loop and again chain 4, yarn over thrice, and we need to work 4 of these. I don't know what we call them, but you yarn over thrice and work them like how you work your double crochets. You just need to go through 2 loops till you get the last one. One, two, three, the last one. Okay, so we have a first chain line. We need to make 4 more and then again chain 4 and a slip stitch. Now we need to work a slip stitch into the next loop and continue this pattern throughout your row. Okay, I've completed my row, and after working the last slip stitch I cut off my yarn. So now we need to turn our work. This is how our flower looks like. Now for the next row we need to attach our yarn back again into our last row. So you need to go ahead and attach it in one of these petals. You attach it on top of your 4th stitch. That's right on top here. Okay. I've made a slip knot to my yarn, so I'm attaching that. And then you chain 2. Now into that same stitch we need to work 1 double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the same stitch. Okay, then you chain 2, in the same stitch 1 double crochet, chain 2, in the same stitch you work a slip stitch, again chain 2, 1 double crochet, chain 2 and a slip stitch. So all this is worked into the same stitch. Now you need to chain 1 and cut your yarn. So this is what we have here. So what we did is we worked into the 4th stitch of our petal. So it's chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch. So all this is worked on top of our 4th stitch. Now the same thing you need to work. You need to skip the next petal and you need to work the same pattern into the next one. Like we have here, we worked our pattern here. If you can see this, we worked our pattern here. Again you need to work your pattern into, you skip one petal, work into the next one, you skip one petal, work into the next one, skip one petal, work into your next one. So this pattern you need to have your 4 corners here for your next row. So you work this small little flower in your 4 corner petals. I have completed my row and I have made these tiny little petals on all the 4 corners. So we have 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So now in the next row we're going to join all of them with a chain. So we start with one of the corner petals. You enter one of the petals in the double crochet that we made. If you can see, right in the center there is a double crochet here. Right on top of that you insert your needle, okay, and you join your yarn back again with a slip knot. Okay, and now you chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now you work a single crochet in the same petal like this, and now you chain 2, 1 single crochet in the next petal. Now you chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 single crochet in the next petal right in the center. You pick a center of your petal and you work a single crochet there. Again chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we need to make a single crochet in this petal. Chain 2, 1, 2, 1 single crochet in the center petal. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the same stitch that you made, the same petal. That will give you a corner. Again chain 2, 1 single crochet in the next petal here. Then you chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you continue with the next petal, the center of this petal. Chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you reach the next corner and you work it exactly how we worked this corner. So this is the same pattern you need to repeat throughout your row. I have completed my row and this is my last chain 2. You need to go ahead and work a slip stitch into the first chain that we started the row with, and then you go into the chain space that we made over the petal and you work a slip stitch there. You chain 1, now you chain 3 and you work 1 single crochet into the same chain space like this. Okay, now you work 2 single crochets into this chain space right here, 1 and 2, 1 single crochet on top of this petal. If you can see, you have a stitch here on top of the petal, 1 single crochet into that. In the next chain space you work 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, and now into the next petal right on top you have a stitch. You work 1 single crochet into that stitch. Now in the next chain space again you work 5 single crochets, so that's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now on top of your petal again you have a stitch. You work 1 single crochet into that. Now in the next chain space you work 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now you work 1 single crochet directly into this chain space in the corner. Now you chain 3 and 1 single crochet into the same chain space. So that will give you your corner again like this. Now you go directly into the next chain space. You chain 2, 1 and 2. Now you have a stitch on top of your petal. You work 1 single crochet into that. And then you continue with your 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and again on top of your petal you make 1 single crochet. So this is the pattern you need to follow throughout the row to all the corners, and you need to get to this space. I have completed my row, and now we need to go ahead and make a slip stitch into the chain space that we made right in the corner, and you work chain 3 there, 1, 2, 3, and you work 1 single crochet into the same space. Now this is your corner again for the next row. Now in this row we need to work 1 single corner in each stitch that we have. So you work 1 single corner in all your stitches. Make sure not to miss any stitch. Just the simple single crochet throughout your row, each stitch. We need to get a good frame around the flower, so the single crochet is going to do that for us. Okay, so we're reaching the corner again. Just a few stitches more. Okay, so once you reach the corner you work 1 single crochet, chain 3 and 1 single crochet in the same stitch, and then you single crochet all the way towards the next corner and continue working your corners like this. So you need to do this for this row as well as the next row and the row after that. So you need to work 3 rows with single crochet and your corners. So this is the first one. You add 2 more rows with the same pattern. I have completed my last row. Now this is how thick it gets, the frame, once you finished your rows. Now if you do not want a thick frame, you can minus some rows according to the width that you want, like this. Now after you've done this, you need to go ahead and slip stitch into the chain 3 that we started with, and then you chain 3, 1, 2, 3. You chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and you work 1 double crochet into the same chain space. So that's 1 double crochet. Now you chain 2. Now you need to skip 2 stitches, so that's 1, 2, and then you work 1 double crochet into your next stitch. Again chain 2, you skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and you work 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Again chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1 double crochet into the next stitch. You need to follow this pattern through till you reach the end of your row, and then we need to make a corner. Chain 2, okay, and now you chain 2 and you directly work into your chain space. You chain 3 and you work 1 double crochet into the same chain space. So this is the pattern you need to follow throughout the row. You skip 2 stitches and work 1 double crochet in your row. Only in the corners you work 1 double crochet, chain 3 and 1 double crochet. Okay, I have completed my row and I have 8 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in between the corners. So I'm not counting these corners. I have 8 here. So whatever number you get, you need to make sure they're all the same in all your corners. Even if you have to double crochet them too close, if you do not have 2 stitches of space, that's okay. You need to just get the same count in all your corners. So now I have made my last chain 2 here, and I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch in the first chain 3 that we made. If you can see, my last double crochet is too close to the corner, but I have to make that to get my 8 in this row. Now you need to go ahead and slip stitch in your chain 3 space. You chain 1, you work 1 single crochet in the same space, you chain 3, you work another single crochet in the same chain space, and now you work 1 single crochet on top of this double crochet, the first double crochet of your row. Now you work 2 single crochets in your chain space, 1, 2. You work 1 single crochet on top of your double crochet. In the next chain space, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet on top of your double crochet, and you continue that. 2 single crochets in the chain space, 1 single crochet on top of your double crochet, 2 single crochets in your chain space, 1 single crochet on top of your double crochet, 2 single crochets in your chain space, 1 single crochet on top of your double crochet. So you continue this pattern till you reach your corner. Two single crochets, okay, now I've reached my corner. Now you need to make a single crochet on top of your double crochet, the last double crochet of the row. Then you single crochet in your corner chain 3 space. You chain 3 and you work a single crochet in the same space, same chain 3 space. Then you work one single crochet on top of your next double crochet that you have here, the V that you had, and then you continue the pattern by working 2 single crochets in the chain space and 1 single crochet on top of your double crochet. So just in the corner we need to make a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and continue the pattern. Where you have double crochets, you need to make 1 single crochet on top. Where you have chain spaces, you need to work 2 single crochets into them. Okay, now I've completed my row and I worked my last single crochet on top of the last double crochet. Now we need to work a slip stitch into the first single crochet of the row that we made, a slip stitch into the chain space, the chain 3 space, chain 1, you work 1 single crochet into your chain 3 space, chain 3, 1 single crochet into your chain 3 space, and then you continue with 1 single crochet throughout your row. So this is the last row that we are working on. So that is only a single crochet row. You need to get all the stitches. It will give you a good border. So that's 1 single crochet throughout your row. Okay, we are reaching the corner. Do not miss any stitches here. Okay, this is the last 2 stitches, 1 and 2. We've reached the corner, and now you need to work your corner stitch. So you work 1 single crochet into your corner chain 3 stitch, you chain 3 and you work 1 single crochet into the same stitch again, and then you continue the pattern throughout the row. So that's about it. This is our final row. You will get this at the end of it after you stitch in all the ends that you have. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel to check some more video patterns on crochet. Thank you.